Welcome to Success Talk Live. I'm your host, Aurea McGarry, and I am so glad you could tune into this show tonight because I, as always, have a very special guest that I've hand-selected for the show to share secrets to success, their secret sauce, without giving away the entire menu and the entire recipe. They're going to give you some good nuts and bolts, though, on how they become very successful in an area of their business. Because we know a lot of people are very successful at something, or they might be mediocre at something, but really good at one thing. Well, the guest I have on tonight is really good at a lot of things. And this is one of the questions that get asked to me a lot, is on social media and growing your social media, especially for people my age and over, which is over 30, we'll just say. Anyway, we weren't brought up with, I know it's over 40 and sometimes over 50, yes, I'll admit it. And we just need to know more about what's happening on social media, and it changes so fast. So we need the young people like you, Warren, to help us stay up on this, and the secrets that you know really are secrets to me because I had no idea. So before we tap into your secret sauces, I have the privilege to introduce Warren Carlyle. Warren Carlyle is the founder of OctoNation, which is the largest octopus fan club, I want to say, in the world. Yay! Love the shirt. It's so cool. Now, you'll watch and might be saying, Octopus Fan Club? Well, what the heck? And that's weird. And what's that got to do with me as a business owner? Oh, wait and see. If Warren can build a fan base on something he's passionate about, whether it is jelly beans, octopuses, or buttons, it doesn't matter. What would you do to have 250,000 followers across the social media platform? So tap in right now, listen up, get your pen and paper, and share this with a friend, because he's going to give you some tips that are really things you can take to the bank. They're going to change your social media world. And he's also going to be at our summit, which we'll talk about later. So you will have an opportunity to meet him in person and pick his brain and take more of his classes. So without any further ado, Warren, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I can't wait to chat with you. It's been a long time coming.
I know. I was so excited to meet you at Spark and Hustle with April. She is just a doll, had the best event, and I met the coolest people. And you were one that just stood out, and we just bonded. You bonded with my entire family. You're now part of our family. So we're really glad to have you here tonight. But it was funny when I first met you. I thought you were wonderful and adorable and just great. And then when I heard you speak, and I said, I went to your workshop, your session, just because I liked you and wanted to support you. Oh, wasn't that nice of me?
Aww.
When I got there, you blew my mind. I'm like, holy cow, this guy knows so much more than I even thought. I didn't know you could do all this, not just with octopi, but with Instagram. The things you knew were amazing. So I couldn't take notes fast enough. So long story short, here you are on the show, and going to be at my side because you really have some great great ideas. So with that, I want you to tell them a little bit about how you started going from your background to starting the world's largest fan club on Instagram for octopus.
Awesome. So I would say that community building for me started really young. I mean, I remember being in grade
Back
school.
when you were young?
Yeah, I mean, really, because this is the way I talk about it. You know, I grew up in a family. I'm like one of 8. So Lauren, Tyler, Brennan, Justin, Samantha, Maggie, Dolores. We're all, in a house together. And I would say that I had a really strong, I really liked school. So I wanted to make straight A's, and all my brothers and sisters, school was not at the top of their list of things to do. And so when I would come home from school and I would want to study, I would want to read and learn, because I love to do that. I love to research and things like that. There was a lot of distractions going on, and a lot of people that didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing. And so I built around me, I made friends with the people who excelled, who were highly intellectual, and I went to their house and I studied with them, and I created community around me that made me able to be and have what I was, which was, going to a magnet high school, graduating early, getting a 4-wide scholarship. And even when I think of when I was in band, I was friends with the top performers, and that's how I was able to make All-State. That's how I was able to. So it just goes back to, with community building, you are given this ability in this day and age to connect with people that share the same interests, that share the same headspace that you do. And there's such an opportunity now to build that community around you and really have conversations that you want to have at scale. and build a family and a following around you, and then monetize that family and following by being the leader of it, if that's something that you'd want to do.
And then that's key, Warren, because you said something. A lot of people network and socialize and collaborate, but they forget the monetize part.
Yeah.
They either forget to ask how you can monetize it, or we don't know how. And I really believe somebody like you being in that world, that you're not asking for favors. You're going to show us in a minute some of how that works so you can monetize it. And you just proved what we've all hopefully have always learned. You become like the people you hang around with most.
Mm-hmm.
You decided at an even younger age than you are now that it matters who you hang around with, and you're going to hang around with all those balcony people so you can learn from them and not be the smartest person in the room. Go to find even smarter people and people that are further on than you are, so it just gravitates you even faster. So that was a really good
I mean, you really do have to change. I mean, it is important who you hang out with, and I call it headspace. Like, who actually, when you're having a conversation with them, actually entertains your conversations to the point where they're interested. They're asking you the questions that you want to be asked. You just light up talking about it. And you can manufacture that by building a community around you that supports and loves what you're doing. And so it's just a lot of fun. So I love talking about this.
It's a lot of fun. It's also very prosperous. And you know, my passion is nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying build a community. And it sounds easy, but there's such great strategies to this that you have. And I especially want every nonprofit that's listening to know how you actually do build that community. Because if a nonprofit can build a community, they can build their volunteer base, they can build their donations, and they can make this world a better place, from saving our oceans to, you know, feeding the poor and rescuing little girls from human trafficking. So this is a really important subject to know. And for us older generation that are, I'm serious now, 40, 45 and above, we weren't brought up with this. And a lot of the founders of nonprofits are older and they don't know how to tap into this gold mine of social networking. So I'm glad you're here to shed some light on this. But tell me real quick, I know you did some work in New York, so tell us a little bit about your background, and then let's dig into some of this community building and what we can do.
So going back to New York, really what happened is in 2011, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer and passed away that same year. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I wasn't really happy in the job that I was working at. And I wanted to get out of San Antonio just to really be around a different group of people. And one day I went to Barnes and Noble, and I was walking down the aisle, the magazine aisle, and I was just like, you know what? I've always wanted to see what New York was like, and I've always wanted to figure out how the fashion industry operated. And so I, you know, like I would normally do, I mean, I'm a heavy like researcher, strategist. I was like, well, if I wanted to do that, who would I need to know? What do I need to do? And so I went and I got on Instagram and I started looking at fashion magazines. I laid them all out in front of me and I started adding strategically people who were male celebrity fashion photographers and journalists that wrote articles that were centered around male fashion photography. And I was just interested in following those people in order to get an internship with one of those people to be immersed in that world. And so I would say even before going into New York, I thought, okay, like this is a great idea, but how do I really put strategy around it and make this happen a lot faster? Because I didn't want it to be something that, oh, that would be great if I could do that. I wanted this to happen like tomorrow. And so I was like, how do I make this happen? And so
I call it strategic stalking.
Strategic stalking
the right people.
I mean, I was just like, I want this to happen now. And how do I get this to happen? And so I started adding these people. I started reaching out to them, asking them if they needed any help, if they needed any internships. And lo and behold, 2 months goes by and I get a message back from a celebrity fashion photographer. And he's interested in having me intern with him. And after 2 weeks of interning with him, I was such an asset to him. He said, how would you like to be my studio manager? And I was like, that would be great. And then a couple, more weeks goes by, and then I started managing all of a strategic partnership with a lot of major fashion brands, and was given a lot of information about how they worked from an enterprise level with social media and just all this stuff. So I was I was just soaking it all in.
Love it.
And it was just like, and so I was working in New York with a celebrity fashion photographer, learning about how all these companies did influencer marketing and social media at a very, enterprise level. And I mean, that's
Did you know what you wanted to do? Like, did you know what your end game was back then? Or were you just kind of feeling around to see kind of where you fit in?
You're
smart and you had that strategy to get in, but did you know where you wanted that to ultimately lead to?
Yeah, I mean, to tell you the truth, I created an Instagram account called Model Warren. And after my mom passed away, the only way that I could really decompress was by working out, because I figured that by lifting heavy weight above my head, the last thing that I was thinking about was anything except the heavy weight that was above my head. And so I really transformed my body. And so when I went to New York, half of it was I really want to figure out what this is like, and I really love social media. And the other half was being an aspiring model, being thinking that I had a different look, because, one of my things was being hairy. And I was like, that's definitely going to set me apart from people. And that's the honest truth. And then when I got there, I just realized, that's not really something that's not the aspect of it I really enjoy. I really like the behind the scenes. I really like the business component, the marketing component, all the different demographics that they were looking at, the influencer marketing. That was really exciting to me. And yeah, so I worked there. And then as I was working there, I started helping, my friends on social media, and they started seeing crazy results with influencer marketing. And then I started working, with people. I started consulting on the side, and then my consulting practice blew up, and I was like, well, maybe this is what I'm supposed to do. I love this. And then
you had a knack for it. That's great. And you had a love for it. So you kind of found it, via a different direction by going for modeling. That's great.
And it wasn't until about a year ago, I would say, that I really understood my title in the marketplace, which was a community building strategist, because I thought,
I love that title, by the way.
Because I really thought that what I was able to do was actually see, what incentivizes a community to show up on a daily basis and give somebody their attention. And I really felt like there was a formula to that. And I really started researching and cracking it down, and then testing it with OctoNation, which is now over 250,000 people. And every single principle that I implemented was a direct result of the success of that now nonprofit.
Speaking of OctoNation, you go from being in fashion in New York to loving social media to starting the largest fan club for Octopi. I mean, please bridge that gap for us, because we're kind of wondering, how did that happen?
Yeah, it was really, I would say.
And how do you monetize that too? That's kind of a strange thing to monetize.
Yeah. So, with OctoNation, really what I wanted to do was show people, because a lot of people were asking, were telling me they'd see my model Warren page, and that there's thousands of followers there. And they said, okay, Warren, but we're a brand, we're an organization, we're an entrepreneur. We're not going to take our clothes off, or we're not in the same industry as you. And so it might've worked for you there, but it's not going to work for us. And so I was like, okay, what can I create that I really love and that I believe in? And it had to be around something that I was passionate about, and that I have always been passionate about the ocean and just octopus.
Really?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with aliens, and that's where that love affair started. And when I was like 7 or so, I went to the aquarium and I saw an octopus, and I was like, this is probably as close as I'm going to get. And I put that animal and I put that away. And after I started working in New York, I thought, you know what, I can apply all of these principles that these brands and these companies and these organizations are using at an enterprise level with something that I love, and I can affect change. And so I started just doing that and building up OctoNation, partnering and collaborating, and a lot of the stuff we'll be teaching later, and growing this community out and testing things out, testing posts out, developing formulas and all this stuff, and really using it as my kind of like my playground for community building. And then all of a sudden, just everyone was just like, how can I build more people in how do I partner with people? And so then I just started consulting some of my friends who were artists, some of my friends who were small business owners, entrepreneurs. Startups started calling me, and I just started sharing these principles that built fanatical communities around their business. And the people that I got the privilege to work with started implementing these strategies, and they started noticing their numbers go up. They started noticing a lot more like-minded people, a lot more comments, a lot more meaningful connections happening within their tribe. It was less transactional and about, okay, here, I'm providing you a service, goodbye, and more about, like, I really want to stick around and see what you got going on a daily basis.
You actually did kind of like a live thesis where you took the challenge of, they said, you do this and we can't because you're a model. You said, okay, well, let me fix this. You went out there, created something that everybody can relate to that you did, use it as a testing ground, use it as a project, prove that if you can do it with this, the same strategies you built this fan base could be used for a business, for a clothing store, for a direct selling company, for a brand, for a speaker. I mean, it's universal. So you actually did what I always hope that most people that teach do, and that is do what they're teaching.
Practitionership.
It's like, here, let me show you. Like when I go to want to build my YouTube channel or my Twitter channel, I go to people that are already there, not to people who are growing with me. I don't need that. I need somebody that's already arrived. And that's why you're so valuable now too for people, because who wouldn't want half of the followers you have? And you don't just have followers. I've got to let people know this. And I don't want to say anybody could have 100,000 followers. It is difficult for that, but you have engaging followers. You have people actually like and comment, and those are obstacles that you really have to like what you're looking at, to take the time to hit like and to take the time to write a comment. You think you're asking people to give them your right arm to get them to comment. Just do it. And if anybody go to OctoNation on Instagram, I encourage you, go like OctoNation. You won't just learn about our oceans and octopus. You will see how to build a fan base and how people engage and how they talk to Warren and all that goodness. Wouldn't you want that on your page? You're going to learn from this if you look at it through the business eye or through the nonprofit eye. There's more to it than just beautiful videos and pictures of octopi.
And the challenge that I typically give business owners is when I'm going and speaking and giving workshops is, why is it okay for some business owners to be fine with receiving little to no comments on their business page? And typically the response that I get is just, well, you know how Facebook is and the algorithm, and they want us to pay. And it couldn't be further from the truth, because there's lots of pages and businesses that I work with that don't spend any money on advertising, and they have hundreds of comments on their page as a result of building a community, a sustainable culture of people that if they don't see your post, they're going to your page because they want to catch the post. I mean, there's incentivized attention to go to your page. And if they don't see you, they're going to your page because they can't wait to catch up on what you're doing.
I love it.
There's a way to manufacture that. And it's through building community. It's, through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now that we've kind of gotten to know you a little bit, we know a little bit how the OctoNation came to be and why some people should be listening to you. Let's get into some meat and potatoes. Give us some really good tips on how to grow our community on whether it's Instagram, which I think that's your favorite platform. And if there's anything we just absolutely, that's like a myth that we should not be doing. Like you just said, it doesn't take a bunch of Facebook ads to build community. So give us some good nuts and bolts now on how we can start building our community.
So one of the first C's of community building, and I talk about the 6 C's of building a fanatical community, and I won't get into all of them tonight, but I'll tell you the first one that most people skip over is clarity. So getting extreme clarity between what it is you're doing, why you're doing it, and who else in the marketplace right now is entertaining that conversation. And when I say entertaining it, it means who else is having, who else could you actually have that conversation with and then be interested and not kind of like look over your head. And so when I think of when I was first developing OctoNation, the Largest Octopus Fan Club, I started out with 0 followers, just like most people, everybody does, right? And I started thinking, instead of talking to my family or my brothers and sisters who all thought I was crazy for starting it, and all my friends, they were like, what are you doing? Like, why would you? That's dumb. And I was just like, just trust me, it's going to happen. And it was getting extreme clarity with who can I collaborate with now that has a community of people that have self-identified as being interested in at least that topic. And once you have clarity around about what you do, like with me, it was the Largest Octopus Fan Club. And with some people, what I noticed is there's a lack of clarity around who it is that they serve, and it's too broad. So if they say, oh, well, my nonprofit could help every woman here in America, well, unfortunately, if you don't have the marketing resources to market to every woman in America, you're going to have to choose a market segment. And so how can you develop clarity around your marketing message so that those women or those men can understand that your thing is for them, and so they can talk about it? But a lot of people don't want to niche that far down and get clarity around their brand because they feel like they're pigeonholing themselves. And I'll tell you, you're not pigeonholing yourselves. you're empowering people with the information that they desperately need to refer you to their friends and family and the people that need you, but they won't know unless you empower them with that language of who you are and who you're for.
You
And
said
so
that in your class too, Warren, because you were talking about it's important that people can refer you. And that was such an aha moment to me. If people don't know what you do or who you help, how can they refer you?
yeah,
And you were talking about women. So instead of saying you help every woman, your nonprofit or your business, whether you're in skincare or whether you're helping single moms, there's more of a niche. It doesn't have to be really tiny, but it could be you help single women. You know, it could be you help young girls. It could be more of a niche. So that was really key. How do people describe you when you're not in the room?
yeah, and I say that with community building, you're really trying to control the conversation that's happening behind your back. You want to address all of the things that could potentially come up. And so to go a layer even deeper on top of who you want to serve, why are you the person to do it? Do you have a core story that really aligns, that really just hook, line, and sinkers? When you say your why, people go, oh, I understand why you're doing this. This makes complete sense, you know, to me, that you should be the person to do that. When I mentioned my story about when I was a kid and I had to build a community around me of people who were intellectual and wanted to entertain the conversations I wanted to have at a high level, I didn't have that in my life. I needed to create it. That ties into why I'm a community building strategist today. I effectively have done that throughout my whole entire career, is immediately surround myself with the people that know exactly what I want to know and go further faster. And so with your story and essentially your thing, not even who are you serving, are you really the person to serve that market? You know, if you, I don't want to say this, but if you don't have a story around, I don't know, I don't want to get into, I don't really get into that.
Well, even fashion or even skincare, you know, it doesn't, whatever you're,
if you're like, if I were to say that I only work with, let's say, brands that are in the food service industry, people would say, okay, cool. So have you worked with brands in the food service industry? It's like, no, I haven't, but I really want to work with that industry.
Right.
So I don't know if your why is big enough, because I don't know if that market is actually going to believe you and take hold to you. And so let's revisit who your market segment should be.
Give them your example of, you said at your class, because I've taken your session, and everybody watching this should take any session that you ever teach. You're really the most amazing teacher I've ever taken a course in any social media. And you said a really good analogy at your last class at Spark and Hustle when you talked about, you're talking about collaborating too and cross promoting with people. And there was somebody you said no to that you would think would have been a perfect match for you. Tell them who that was and why you said no to this particular collaboration. Which the reason you were able to say no is because you're so clear on who your fans are and who you support. So that'd be grateful.
And that was actually one of the second C's, which was core values. I'm really driven by my core values. I'm very intentional. I'm very on purpose. If something is ethically off to me, I'm immediately out. I don't do things just to do them to get someplace. I am out. And so core values is huge. And that's why it's the second C of building a fanatical community, is being so clear with who you are as a person that you know that you wouldn't operate or work with somebody who isn't in line with your core values. It doesn't matter how great the opportunity is and what the status is. And so the example that I gave in class was there was a campaign going on where they were serving live octopus in New York and California, and they were chopping them up in front of people, and people were eating them live, and it was just a thing that they did. And so there was a lot of there were some representatives from PETA that said, would you like to share this message? Obviously, you being the largest octopus fan club, it only makes sense. And I thought, wow, PETA has millions of followers. This would be a great opportunity to do a collaboration and to maybe work with them. And I went and I looked at their mission statement, and it was animals are not ours to use to entertain, to wear, to eat, anything like that. And I thought of OctoNation as we're one of the largest entertainment hubs for the animal, the octopus. And if they're anti-domestication, anti-aquarium, it really doesn't hold true to what we're trying to provide, which is education, which is entertainment, which is inspiration. And so I said, unfortunately, it's not a fit. Whereas other people might have looked at that opportunity to say, but think about how many people I could be in front of. I said, it's not the time. It's not the right time. Mm-hmm. And you have to be very clear with, if an opportunity like that comes up for you, it's just like, does it really make sense? And I say, if a community, if we had a party, if PETA and OctoNation had a party in the same room, would people get along? And I thought, what, the answer is probably no. they would probably
That's
have a
a
lot of.
great analogy. I hope everybody writes that down. If you and your collaborators will have a party together, would your fans get along?
Yeah.
That is such a key tip. We need to put that on a poster.
It'd be like, if you go to a bodybuilding convention and you go and you have like a vegan convention or something like that together, and one's like hardcore meat eaters and the other one's just like vegan. I don't know if that would click. And if they would have the same things to talk about, I think one would try to convince the other, and you never want to get in that situation. So just really think of that. If you had a party, I mean, would that really make sense?
I love that.
Yeah.
It makes it so easy to think about too. And you took that collaboration opportunity, and most people, and myself included, would have looked at it more on the surface, like, oh, wow, this is great. But then you took it down a level deeper and said, let me see if our fans would merge and blend at a party. And then you also got the attention of somebody very famous, which would be everybody's dream, Ellen DeGeneres, to say a shout out to you. Tell us how you got Ellen DeGeneres' attention.
So Ellen DeGeneres, people know that, Portia bought her a sanctuary, the Gorilla Sanctuary, one of her presents to her. And so Ellen has been really focused on this new part of her life, which is giving back, which is nonprofit work. And she's always been like that, but really around animals and really showcasing a new side of her that is very is fun to see. And it's very animal centric. And so I started noticing there was an opportunity on her Instagram to connect with her, because she started sharing a lot of animal videos to get up her followers of people that were conscious about animals. And I think her strategy around that and her team's strategy was so that she could get more donations for her sanctuary and all the things that she wants to fund for animals. It was a brilliant strategy. And so I thought, okay, where do I fit in this and how can I provide value to her? And so I started collaborating with some people that she was collaborating with, and I did research on that. And I talk about that in collaboration in depth, and I'll be doing that at your summit. But long story short, I ended up getting featured by her not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, but 5 times on her Instagram of over 55 million people. 5 different posts were featured, which brought a lot of attention to OctoNation. And of course, we're working on getting on the show. But as of right now, the attention that we're getting from Instagram is great enough. So it's great.
Me and Angel have to be there with you if you go on Ellen's show. I'm sorry. We can go without us.
No, you'll definitely have to go.
I'm so excited we talk about that, because for everybody's watching, don't worry. He goes into this more. Warren's going to have a class this Saturday, a wonderful class. I'm going to be at it. It's all virtual. We'll talk about that in a second. But also at my summit, you will get the nuts and bolts to exactly how he strategically stalked this merge with Ellen, and how you all can do it with the person of your dreams. Whoever that bigger fish is for you, that you want their attention, you want to collaborate. This is all part of Warren's sessions that he talks about and that he teaches. And it is good. And what hour of knowledge you're going to learn, and then following up with him is amazing. So we're giving out little tips of this iceberg so you know that it's possible, but don't worry, you'll get all the strategies if you hook into Warren tonight.
I actually think people got a lot tonight. I mean, if you just think of, most people don't ask these very in-depth questions. They ask I did a live about this the other day. They're asking the wrong questions, which is how many hashtags should I use and how many times per day should I post? And those are all very technical questions. What I'm concerned about, and what you should be concerned about from a community standpoint, is what is the strategy? Who are you trying to talk with? Who else is talking to those people? I mean, there's a lot of questions that I ask the people that I'm working with, and that I pose to people during my sessions, and that I'll be posing to people that show up at the summit, which is these very deep questions that will get to the root of, are you this person to lead this community? Or should you be going in a different direction? Should you be leading a different type of community? And so, I mean, it's really good to know, because you don't want to build up a tribe of people than realize you want to pivot completely. I'd rather you do the thing and grow the thing that you love than grow a community to just make money and then take that money and then build a community of your dreams. You can build a community of your dreams right away. You don't have to wait. So.
And people just take time, and I know I speak to myself when I say this, take time to pause and to think and to strategize. There's times to jump into things, because I do that, but there's times also to strategize when you really want to take it further and to make a business out of it, or a nonprofit, or a project out of it. So you show us how to do that. Your strategies and your tips are excellent. I have a question that I don't know. I'm going to look to see if anybody else has a question. If you guys have questions, start posting now your question for him. We'll try to get to a couple of them if we can. And my question, though, is you talk a lot about about collaborating and working with other key influencers in your industry. So
Yes.
you've got OctoNation on Instagram, and what I'm noticing on yours, and I follow so many animal ones. Anytime I'm looking at Instagram, people know me. I'm looking at golden retrievers. I'm looking at otters. I'm looking at your octopus. I'm looking at all the animals. And on these websites, yours included, and I might be stupid for not knowing how this works, but I'm seeing all these really cool videos that you didn't personally take. They're from other people, but you organically put them on there with credit to them. How does that work? I'm just clueless on how that would work. If I have a great video of an octopus and I want you to get your attention to put it on your Instagram, what does that collaboration look like? How do you start that?
So let's go take it back, because I think it starts even before that, which is you as a community leader, like me as the founder and CEO of OctoNation. When it comes to the information that you want to give to your community, really you start with what sort of information are they looking for? Like, with me, when I was first creating OctoNation, I didn't come up with a strategy myself. It was all me asking questions. What do you guys want to see more of? What is exciting to you? And what a lot of people told me was that they wanted to see different species. Most people are familiar with the one that looks like this with
Right.
the 8 legs, but there's over 250 or so species, and so they told me what they wanted. I asked them more. They told me what they wanted. I asked them more. They told me what they wanted, and so I never once thought this is what I'm gonna give them because this is what I like. It was always me asking, and so with a lot of people and their community, their strategy, when I look at is I'm just like, how did you decide to do what you're doing now? And typically they tell me, well, that's what they need to hear. And I say, okay, that's focus group of 1. That's you. And I'm really honest with them, because I want them to be polling their community. I want them to ask, who said that? Who told you? Because I'm a researcher. And so with collaboration and collaborating with people and being able to use their content, it comes before that. But to use somebody's content, what you really want to do is, when you're curating, I'm essentially a DJ of OctoNation. I get sent content, I look at content, and I decide based on what my community wants, what I'm going to play.
How do you get sent content? So let's say I have a fashion industry and I want somebody that has a fashion Instagram and 250,000 followers. I want them to see my t-shirts or something.
Okay.
Is that email to them? How does that work?
So let's go even deeper, because it's never like the questions people ask, I always go deeper. So depending on your fashion company, so let's just say you're a fashion company that caters to women who go to the gym, and it's more of like an athletica sort of line, and you cater to entrepreneurial women or something like that. And and so, that's a really specific niche. And when I'm looking at fashion companies, I'm looking at lines or looking at accounts, I want people to be extremely preference driven with who they're marketing and who they're targeting to. So what I would look at is, when I was starting that account, I'd look at hashtags of people. What are they uploading, and what hashtags is my market using? And so say there was like fitpreneur or something like that. I would look at those hashtags. I would look at hashtags that are around that space and that target demographic. And I'd reach out to them. I would maybe initially, if I'm doing a startup, I would offer some of them clothes. I would get
private message them? Is that when you reach out?
Yeah, I would direct message them.
Direct message them. Okay.
Yeah, and look through hashtags. There's such a great opportunity right now. And let's just talk about Instagram first. If there are people that are self-identifying their images through hashtags, so when they use a hashtag, what they're basically saying is, I'm classifying this picture as this. I want it to be a part of this community. And you have an opportunity to go and to search through hashtags to find your tribe. With me, with OctoNation, one of the first things that I did was look at hashtag octopus tattoo, because I figured people that had a tattoo of an octopus on their body would be fans of octopus, right?
Smart.
Yeah, and so you have to really get strategic with, okay, where are my super fans at? Where is my tribe at? And with Facebook, there's such an opportunity with people being in groups. They're self-identifying as being interested in a topic. I have people that are in an emotional intelligence groups that are specifically related to animals and cognitive behavioral therapy, and they want to have that conversation, which is great for those people that want to serve that target demographic. So that all goes back to with the people need to know that you exist. And so when you're first starting up, it's letting those people know you exist. Who's currently catering to that community at a high level that you can have direct access to and collaborate with. Maybe do a podcast with them if they offer that. Maybe do a blog for them. Maybe do a giveaway with them, or a cross promotion, which is like you'll share my content, I'll share yours. There's a lot of different ways, and I'll talk more about that at collaboration at the summit. There's so many different ways that you can position yourself and partner with people. But you have to start with, does it really make sense for your tribe? And so, so now people know if they want their photos to be seen on my bio, it says use or tag your photos with hashtag OctoNation if you want to be featured or seen by us.
Okay.
And so
now, what
now,
do you do? If you see one you like, what's your next step? Do you just upload it to your Instagram, or do you contact them and say, I'd like to use your video?
So no, with me, like I said, I'm the DJ of OctoNation. I know based on what people have, based on me polling my tribe a lot, what they want to see and how they want to see it and why they want to see it. Like I just did a poll yesterday, which I said, what do you like about OctoNation? And there was a lot of people that said, I really like the new music that you have. And so what I do is there's a lot of underwater photographers and videographers that have great content. They have great footage, but they're not doing really that much editing. They're uploading their raw footage. Gotcha. And so I take it a step further and I add really compelling music that fits it. And then I take it an even step further and I add a really interesting fact or piece of information about that species or about what's going on. Sometimes I'll reach out to the person who shot the footage and say, can you give me a little context and backstory so I can write something on this? And then when I'm done, I present that piece of information to the community. And like I said, it gets hundreds of comments, and
it does look good. It looks very uniform too, because it's all beautiful. It's all different. And we would never see so many of the things that are on your OctoNation website, Instagram. But I know Facebook is easy to share things. But when you're talking about Instagram, so let's say you've got the perfect video of an octopus that's been hashtagged under octopus tattoo or octopus video, and you see it, and if you want to feature it on OctoNation, how do you go from where you saw it in hashtag to working with that person to feature them? Do they know that you do it, or you just take it and upload it?
No, they all totally know, because if they're self-identifying their info or their information under OctoNation, odds are they're saying, hey, see me, I'd really like to be featured. And so if I need to edit it, then I'll message them and say, hey, is it okay if I edit it? And most of the time,
download it to your computer?
Yeah, I do it all. Yeah, I download it to my computer, and you can do that on your app through a phone called through Instagram. Through the Repost app, so you can use that. And there's a lot of like technical, stuff that you can do.
Teach those in your classes.
Yeah.
All right.
And cool. So it's all a process, but it all goes back to having that overarching strategy and the people who you are collaborating with or you are reaching out to, do they fall into your core values? And a lot of times you can find out by just going to their profile, seeing what they stand for, what sort of posts they're uploading. Are they positive? Are they negative? Because it all comes back to,
you really do research them more than the average bear. That's for sure. You talk about that too in your class. There's people that are hashtagging everything, and then you take it a step further and you look into that to see if that's still a good fit before you collaborate with somebody. So
everybody should be like that, because even the people that you bring on your show, if you really think of what you do, is you look at them, okay, I really like Warren, but I really like the fact that he's also about nonprofits, and that's what I'm about too. And so that was just another connection for us. And so we had an alignment with our core values, which at the end of the day, we understand that the world's bigger than what we're making it out to be. And there's such an opportunity to educate a lot of people where they're at, and which is why you're doing Facebook Live right now, which is something you probably didn't see yourself doing 10 years ago.
Oh, actually, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know. And it's just like
we
have to do what we have to do to get in front of the people now that we want to get in front of and have the conversations we want to have. And so, that's...
You're right, too, because anybody that comes on my show or anybody that even steps foot on my stage at the Live Your Legacy Summit, first and foremost, they have to be successful in something they do, but very first and foremost, they have to be passionate about giving back, and not just being successful to be successful and be a hoarder. It's to be successful so they have more to give, because the more you have to give, and that's really important. It's like-minded people attract like-minded people. So I never have a problem attracting wonderful people like you and April and Tori Johnson and just good people that earn a lot but give a lot. And that's just so important to us, because if we can help if every person on earth could help one nonprofit be better, be stronger, help whatever they're helping, this whole world would be such a better place. And I still believe there's more good people like us trying to help than bad people doing what we see on the news all the time. We just collaborate more and shout it out more and help each other more, because I don't believe in competition. I believe, like you, collaboration. It doesn't hurt anybody to shine a light on them. It doesn't hurt us in any way, shape, or form. It just helps everybody.
And more on that, I mean, especially with collaboration, and I tell people, like, I've always been about collaborate with your quote unquote competition, because the fact that, I mean, how egotistical is it to think that everybody is going to like immediately shift from your competitor to you? It just doesn't happen. You have a different life story. You grew up differently. People are going to relate to you completely different than they're going to relate to even somebody in the exact same space as you, because you came from a different background. You came from a different state, which puts you in a different sort of situation. You came from, and all of that uniqueness is what truly crafts who you are and who you can serve and who can actually hear the information. Because there's a difference between people saying information and people that have kids know this. Like, you'll say something to your kid and then somebody else will say something to your kid and they're like, oh my God, you're right. And it's just like, I just said the same exact thing. And so it's the same thing with you and community building and tribe leading. You will connect to a completely different audience than your competitor might. And so it doesn't make sense that you don't collaborate so that you can help more people together.
And we don't need everybody. No one company needs everybody. We need our own world, our own community, or our tribe, whether it's 100 clients or 100,000 clients. And we can't service everybody anyway.
And that's not me being kumbaya, because me and you are not kumbaya. I mean, we're not really kumbaya people in the sense that we're just like, oh yeah, naive. You know what I mean? Right. I'm very aware that, people are just not for everybody. It's just, that's not how it's going to work.
But you got to make your own mark. You got to be really great in your space is what you're saying. And you help people do that. And I'm noticing some of these comments are great. We've got Angelica's on the line, and she was talking about, she edits like crazy. So she really has gotten the memo on editing these videos and editing pictures. She really makes these posts her own. And Kim White is talking about we're all different flavors. We really are. Yeah. Green, I never thought to work with competitors. Yep. Working with competitors, collaborate. I do that all the time. I work with other people that teach media, other people that help nonprofits. I've always been taught there is no other Warren in the world. Yeah. There's no other Aurea. There's no other Kim White or Angelica Monroe Boudreau. We all bring our own special personality to the table, and I'll turn off people that somebody that's much more quiet and demure will not, and vice versa. Somebody who needs somebody fast-paced from New York, going fast, much more vivacious will love me, but that will scare off other people. So it takes all different flavors, all different types of people. And I don't want the whole world. I want just a piece of the world that's in my space that I can really help and nurture.
And I know for me personally, and I'm not for everyone. I really am for people that want to move fast and that are clearly on purpose. They're on a mission. They're on purpose. They want to go fast and they're willing to. They're coachable. Those people, I mean, we go fast far, because if you think of how fast I went from idea to New York, it was 2 months, and then it was 2 months.
2 months.
2 months. I didn't. There was no time to wait. I wasn't interested in waiting.
You sure you're not born and raised in New York City?
And so when I work with people that are on purpose and they have a strong core message that ties into why they're doing what they're doing, it's so easy to work with somebody that's clear like that, because it's just like all of a sudden the collaborations pop up. It's just like they just need that strategy to like make that happen. Sometimes they just need a little bit of a push, self-confidence. And most people that work with me know I'm the first person that says, DM him today, direct message her today, make this collaboration happen now. You're ready for it now. I'm not going to put them in a situation where they're not ready for it. So it's like, reach out to them today.
I always say you can't follow a parked car. You have to be in motion. How you haven't been doing even OctoNation that long. So tell us when you started that, because now you're at over 250 followers across all social media platforms. That's a lot of followers, and you have not been doing it that long. Tell us how long it's been.
No, it's been about, I would say, it's going on close to 2 years now.
2 years. That's
close to 2 years now, and it's been one of the projects that I've been doing. So I've been doing multiple projects for me and for my clients for, you know, a lot of artist friends that I work with, and just a bunch of different people. But with OctoNation, yeah, it went from 0 to a $250,000 in about a year or so. It's about 2 years. And
I love
and so
that.
now about 3 months ago, I was being told, a lot of my followers were saying, you know, we want to do more. You know, how can we activate, you know, all these people? What can we do? And I was just like, I didn't know anything about a nonprofit. I wasn't too sure, and I thought that was the next logical step. Was, okay, let's make this, you know, nonprofit organization. Let's create a mission statement behind it. Let's, you know, affect change. Let's do this, because there's enough of us that are passionate and can do it. And so I founded it, and I'm learning through people that know a whole lot more than me about nonprofits. You being one of them.
And we want to support your nonprofit. So tell us about your nonprofit.
It's OctoNation. OctoNation, the largest octopus. Yeah, and we're on GuideStar. We're creating sustainable donor programs. We do this segment called OctoNation Interviews, where we go to various nonprofits and spotlight their programs and services.
Like a lot of aquariums are nonprofits.
Yeah.
And I've seen you do it at the Georgia Aquarium, and it's so fascinating. I love it. So we're going to definitely support you. And I'm going to help them. I know I could talk to you all night. You are amazing, but I want them to get more of you in the proper channels. You've given away a lot of your information tonight. We so appreciate it. But I know we've got 2 ways that everybody that's watching, they can tap into you right now. And one of them is coming up in the fall, as always, the Live Your Legacy Summit. If y'all want to meet this wonderful man in person, who is just going fast, can take you with him and teach you how to do it in your tribe, in your way, with your niche. And you don't have to be Warren, you don't have to be Aurea, you don't have to be anybody but yourself and your product, your service, your nonprofit. And you will learn, I promise you, so much. Bring your notepad, bring your recorder, bring whatever to the Live Your Legacy Summit, September 23rd and 24th, right here in the Atlanta area. People come from all over the country. Shelly Hunt's coming from California. Warren, you're coming from Texas, but you're all over the world.
Yeah, I'm constantly traveling. Yeah.
Everywhere. You will be able to take sessions with him, hear more, and collaborate. And who knows who might be featuring you. It's all about getting into the right room with the right people. But you don't have to wait now. Go on to liveyourlegacysummit.com and get your tickets or your vendor booth. But Warren has something very special coming up this Saturday. And I'm going to be on that line as well. It's right from your own home. Warren, tell us what you have going on Saturday so we can learn so much more and really get a good workbook full of notes on strategy.
Yeah, so Saturday, what I decided to do was to do a boot camp, a community building boot camp. It's going to be 2 to 3 hours long. It might go longer depending on the questions we get. And I always answer everybody's questions before I leave. Like, I'll stay for however long. And so I'm doing a community building boot camp. It's at iwantcommunity.com.
What is it?
iwantcommunity.com.
Okay.
And it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be a community building workshop. We're going to be talking about the 6 C's of building a fanatical community, kind of a screen share. I'll show you how exactly I researched some of those topics, how to, get your customers engaged a little bit more, turn them into marketers for your community. And I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that we're going to cover this Saturday. And the seats, to reserve your seat, is $47. What I told Aurea that I would do is for people, for her tribe, is if you use coupon code LEGACY, all capital letters, we'll let you reserve a seat this Saturday for $19. And so
$19, people. I will be there. You've got here. As you can see, there's so much more of Warren that we just don't even have time for tonight. $19, Legacy, all caps, iwantcommunity.com. Be there. Tell us a little bit more about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just where, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, tons of people have signed up already. I mean, you can tell that people are tired of messing around on social media and not getting that many likes now, because as soon as I went to launch it, I mean, I woke up in the morning and I was like, I have a full class. There is tons of people that are going to be really interested in this boot camp. So I'm really excited about it. That tells me that people are they want to build active, engaged tribes around them. They're tired of receiving 5 to 10 comments per post. They want hundreds, which is really cool because you can make that happen. And there's a system for it. It's just learning what are those things, how do you psychologically get that attention there, and how do you do the research? And that's what I'm all about. That's, a huge thing that I love. And so I'll teach you how to do that.
You're really great at that. And again, by having you on my show, I'm giving everybody that's watching this, whether you're watching it now live or later on in the replay, I only encourage people to take advice from people who are where you want to be. Warren has the goods. Over 250,000 followers across social media platform. Over 160,000 just on Instagram alone. So no matter what he has to teach you, it's going to be more than we already know ourselves if we're not at that level. And I know I'm not, and I want to be there. So I am signed up for Saturday. But if they cannot come Saturday live, let's say they're going to be out of town or they're not here, is if they go ahead and buy the ticket now for $19, does it expire? Can they see it in a recording?
So yeah, as soon as I get done with the recording, I'm going to be sending out a replay of it. So you'll have it. You can listen to it. You can listen to it at your own pace and implement at your own pace. I mean, I definitely want to make it available. I mean, that's the cool thing about it being virtual is that I really want you to show up live because I think it's a different sort of energy that you're going to have while you're taking notes. And then you can actually ask questions to me that are specific to your business, which is really great. But yeah, I mean, if you, I would sign up for it, as soon as you can to get the recording. If you can't make it on Saturday, I think it's at 2 p.m. Eastern that I'm doing it.
2 p.m. Eastern live, $19 to tap into Warren's brain. I'll tell you, it's worth $190,000 for this. You're amazing. You really are. And they don't even know the half of what you know. Like I said, the only reason I know is because I took one of your classes and we all left there with our heads spinning saying, wow, I never knew all these secrets that Instagram has that you found out that you know, and the proof's in the pudding. People like Ellen DeGeneres know who you are, 160,000 followers, people giving you these amazing videos. Everybody please go like OctoNation, Facebook, Instagram, and see what Warren has put together. And if you want any type of success, Warren is the one that can help you in your genre, whatever it is that you do, get to that level of success and even further, because he's not stopping growing. He's just begun to grow. It'll be next year, I bet we'll come back and have 2 million followers. But what I love about you, Warren, is you want to take people with you. So you are the most unselfish, giving, kind person that's so humble, and that's one of the reasons, one of the criteria to even be on my show.
I mean, with that, I truly want people to, when they build a community around them, I really want people to be heard. I mean, I really think it's cool if, that if you build that community around you, somebody that's really interested. I mean, even with me, I'll just go back to me in high school. I majored in classical saxophone performance. That's a really strange, obscure, thing. And it was just like, okay, people in my class, they're like, why don't you do jazz? Why don't you do that? I was like, okay, I need some people around me that really love classical. And so I made friends with people. I made friends with professors that loved it. And I really kept and so there's a lot of people that have been beat down and they're talking to people that can't entertain the conversations. They're happy for you, but they just they're not with you. And you can create that community of people around you that are with you and that validate you and get you to that point where you're just like, wow, like whatever, like, no, I really love doing this. I love talking about this. This lights me up, and you can create that for yourself. And that's the gift that I want to give to people by teaching people how to build a community, is because if I can do it with Octopus and OctoNation, imagine what you could do with it, with your mission or your nonprofit or your business. It would just be phenomenal. So I can't wait.
That's what I've been saying. Yay, just what he said. That's awesome. You've been a community builder since you were little. That is so cool. When you look back, I'm sure your mom would be very proud to look back and see your personality and your traits you had when you were a kid, and now it's turned into this and helping others and creating this as a business and monetizing it. And there's nothing wrong with monetizing talents. Because if you love what you do, you never work another day in your life. And that's cliche, but it's so true. And you do light up the room, and you lit up our show tonight. Normally this is a 30-minute to 45-minute show, and I think we are at an hour now.
Oh gosh.
We have not even tapped into it. So Warren, I will be there at your class on Saturday. Bells on. Can't wait. And I just hope everybody comes to the Live Your Legacy Summit to see you in person and have 2 full days with you. Because having you in person is a whole nother experience altogether. So
yeah, I'll be there to serve.
You guys get in on this. iwantcommunity.com and liveyourlegacy.com. We want to give you more. And thank you, Warren, so much for being on the show. We appreciate you. We'll upload this onto YouTube, so it'll be here forever. And people can watch this again and again and learn from you and tap into you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'll talk to you soon. And I'll see everybody at the Live Your Legacy Summit for 2 days. That'll be fun.
Yay! Can't wait to have you in Atlanta. Yay! We'll have to go back to the aquarium, too.
Yes.
Thank you all for watching. Have a great, great day, evening, night. And don't forget, you want to earn more so you can live more, so you can give more. God bless you all. Have a wonderful one. Until next time, this is Aurea McGarry signing out.